everybody, this is Erica Serwin from Pink Buckaroo Designs, and today I'm going to show you how to make this really cute pot that has a note card in it. Looks like my glue dot got stuck a little bit, but this little note card slides right out. This is based on a project seen at, on stage last April, and I've had some requests to make a video, so that's how I got this idea. I have updated a little bit to use a stamp set that is going to be exclusive in August 2016 called the Thoughtful Branches Bundle. So this project's kind of a two-step project. I'm going to show you how to make the little pot, but then I'm also going to show you how to make the insert card with our new stamp. All right, so let's get started. The first thing you're going to need to do to make the pot is to use our popcorn box Thinlit. This was new in the 2016 annual catalog, and you're going to cut out 2 Peekaboo Peach pieces. You need 2 of these to make a box. Now, you're going to need to do some measuring, some scoring, and some cutting. This is not a beginner project. This is a little bit more advanced, but the results are so cute. And once you make it once, it's not too difficult. All right, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to come down here to this tab on the bottom, and let's just mark off 1/4 inch right there. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to leave, this is going to be the front of our box, the side that has the big square or rectangle tab here. And on this side, we're going to measure on this edge, we're going to line up, you want to measure from this line here in the center, you want to measure at 1/4 inch. Let's see if I can do it without reaching over your head. 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. We're going to score one of these and cut the other one. So now I'm going to use my Stampin' Trimmer. I like to use the Stampin' Trimmer on this project because I can see exactly where I'm cutting through here, and it has these great lines on either side, and it has the measuring up here so I can kind of keep an eye on what I'm doing. Now this is at 2 different angles. So we're going to have to take this point and look at it so that it's kind of at an angle. When we cut this line, we want it to be parallel. Let's see if I fold this line right here. We want it to go parallel along here. So if I lined up this top with that, when I cut it, it's going to end up intersecting. We're going back to some middle school math here, intersecting lines and parallel lines. But you want this line to run parallel because we're going to make a tab basically. So take this first, let's actually do the second one because that's what we're going to cut. Take the furthest one, the one that's 1/2 inch away, and line it up in the gutter of your cutter. Now twist it so that this line right here, that's our fold line, is running along that grid line there. Okay? Now one thing that you can do to make that a little bit easier is to cut this tab off. We don't need this tab at all. So we're going to cut it off. That way we can see exactly what we're doing. And you can even fold this in so that you can see exactly where that intersecting line is. So the 1/2 inch mark, and then turn this so that you can see that this is running along this grid line, okay? And when we cut, it's going to be kind of at an angle. All right, so see how that made, it's still going over like that. It didn't intersect. Now for the other one, we're going to line that up, do the same thing, put that 1/4 inch mark there in the gutter, and turn it so that your fold line, this is the line you're basing it on, is running along that grid line. Now your Stampin' Trimmer has a score blade on it, but mine is not working, so I need to get a replacement. So I'm just going to use my stylus right here in the gutter and score that. Okay, so there we have a score line, which we're going to fold, and the original line. Can you see how that's making a tab there for the back? Now we made a 1/4 inch mark here because we're going to cut that off too. And remember, if you line this, because this is so many different angles, you've got to make sure that what you're cutting is straight, because if I lined this one up, this would not be a straight line here. So look at this line right here, line it up so that it's going up and down, And we're going to cut right along that 1/4 inch mark that we made. All right. Was that clear as mud? It's a little complicated, so let's do it again. On our second one, take your ruler and you're going to mark, let's just do this side, from this center fold right here, you're going to mark at a 1/4 inch and at a 1/2 inch. Down here on this bottom tab, let's fold it so we can see it. See where we're coming from. We're going to mark it right at a 1/4 inch. Okay, move those out of the way. Cut this tab off because we don't need it, and it'll help us see that grid line that we need to line up with. Fold that one up a little bit, and let's pull this back over. Take your 1/2 inch mark, line it up in the grid, then twist your paper so that this mark right here is lining up with that grid line. But make sure you're keeping in the gutter, that your little mark is in the gutter. And cut it. Again, line the 1/4 inch mark up with a gutter, twist, and make it parallel to the grid line. See if I can get it just right. Lay that down and score it. And come back over here, let's not forget, line that mark up, make this parallel with here, with a grid. That's why this cutter is so good, because it has all those grid lines. And there we have it. All right, so now let's assemble. You have 2 pieces that look just like that. All right, so I'm gonna use my tear tape. It is skinny enough to fit right on that outside, am I out of the frame? Sorry, right on that outside tab. And yes, it does tear, but I want it to line up perfectly, so I'm gonna cut it. Peel that one off. Lay this one, matching those edges, right there. Okay, now I'm going to put the tape on the inside here, just a little bit easier. And this time I can tear it. Peel that off. And fold it over. And there we have the basic construction. Now you want to fold these in, make the bottom of your box. A little more tear and tape there. It's super skinny. You could even make this thicker, put some candy inside. You could make those lines, those original 1/4 and 1/2 inch lines, make them at a 1/2 inch and 1 inch, and then your box would be a little bit thicker. All right, so there is your box. I didn't burnish my line, so it's a little wonky. All right, now let's ink the edges up. And I chose Peekaboo Peach because I thought it looked kind of terracotta, like a terracotta pot. And I thought it looked even more terracotta when I inked the edges. Now we know that terracotta pots have a little lip on the edge, so let me show you how to do that. I'll bring my Big Shot over. Let's get this guy out of the way. And you're going to use, here's my paper from one of my things that I cut out, and we just need to cut out, we just need about this much of it. So I'm just going to lay it on here, run it through, and of course my Big Shot is backwards, so let me put it here, run it through. And now I'm going to trim everything off because I just want that panel for the top. And I am going to do about 3/4 of an inch. And I can line this up, if I turn it this way, with this tick mark right here, 3/4 of an inch. Lay it down and cut it. And you could do one for the back too if you wanted. too, but I just did one on the front. And then get your dimensionals. And we're going to put this on here, but we need to ink it so that it matches. So let's take a little bit of our sponge and some peekaboo ink and go around this one and lay it right. Let's see, I think we need a little more there on the bottom before I stick it down. Right there we go. And there's your terracotta pot. All right, now let's make the inside card. Remember how it pulls out on that inside card? Well, guess what? To make that card, we are again going to use that popcorn box thinlet and a piece of Whisper White. And we're just going to cut out one of these sections. Now, it only scores it on one side, so we're going to have to trim it. So let me get it cut out. See how I just put that under one side? It's just a sliver of Whisper White, just wide enough to fit in there, so I'm not wasting too much paper. Whoops. All right, so here's what it looks like. Kind of looks like something we don't want. We're not sure. Let's go ahead and cut off these the bottom little tab. We don't need that. And now this score line right here is going, once we cut it here, it's going to make the perfect shape for our pot. I'm going to cut it a little sliver inside that so it's a little bit skinnier than the pot and it'll slide out perfectly. So I'm lining that score line up with a ditch and moving it over just a little bit. So let's cut it. All right, now let's check it and make sure it fits before we move on. Perfect. All right. So now we're going to do some stamping with the Thoughtful Branches. This set again that I told you is exclusive in August, and it comes as a bundle with the matching framelits, which is wonderful. It is photopolymer, so that if you need to line up any of the images, you can. I am stamping in Pool Party ink on Pool Party cardstock. All right, 2 times. I'm going to stamp it 2 times. Now let's bring the Big Shot over again. Now I'm going to cut both of these out. Here's our coordinating thinlet or framelit. And I'm also going to cut out a Pool Party oval. And you will see why in just a second. So I'm just going to lay that there. Now you can see as I turn it, I have to find just the right space. It does have an arrow, so when you stamp it, you'll know which side is up. But this one I have found, if I'm not making a video and I can look on top of it, that you can line it up really easily. Sometimes we have stamps that are so hard to line up with a framelit, but this one is not. And because this one is pretty intricate, I'm going to run it through twice. I am using our thicker base plate, which does help a lot. But just in case, woo, framelits are a-flying. All right, now, before I cut the other one out, let's use our die brush and the foam pad to run through here. This is going to help me get out the majority of those little bitty pieces. See that, how they all fall out? Look at that, I got every single one of them. That makes this so much easier. You're not having to pick all those out. All right, let me quickly do the second one. Next we're going to stamp the leaf twice also. And I want to fit this this other framelit on here while I'm cutting, so I'm going to kind of do them up towards the top. This leaf is also in the Thoughtful Branches stamp set. And let's line it up on here. Now the magnetic platform, if you use the magnetic platform, it will help you hold these in place. If you need, if you find that they're jumping around or slipping around, I'm going to put that one here. We're also going to do just one of these. That's what I was leaving room for. right, we are done with the big shot for a few minutes. Getting my workout today, moving that thing back and forth. Let me get all these little pieces out of our leaves, and we're ready to put this together. All right, so now we're ready to assemble. I'm going to start with the one that I want to go in the front. It's going to overlap this card a little bit. I'm going to take some of my glue dots, and I'm going to pick them up like this. And I'm just, these two, I put one here, and I'm going to overlap that on that card just like that. Now, I'm going to take my dimensionals, and we're going to need some really skinny, tiny little dimensionals. So, see how they need to be skinny and tiny. So I'm just going to take my paper snips and cut a few. I think 4 would be enough. And I'm going to lay them here inside this little delicate detailed inlet. Let's see, get that little scrap off so I can see. I want to kind of spread them evenly around. And I'm doing this because I want to create a little bit of dimension. And I want the flower to look a little bit more realistic. All right, now here's the one that goes in the back. And instead of laying it right on top, I'm going to kind of off-center it a little bit so that we have different layers and they're showing through differently. Now remember that oval that we cut? That oval is going to go right there in the middle so that we don't see so much behind. I don't like how open it is. So I'm going to put a few glue dots more on this one in the back. Just in the center. And I'm going to lay it down over that oval. There we go. All right, so let's take our, if I can remember my words today, our leaf and stem, and I'm just going to cut off this part right here because I want this to be higher up. And I'm going to put a glue dot, whoops, a glue dot on the top and the bottom, and I'm going to put this up like this at an angle. Okay. Now I'm going to take these two that I stamped, and I'm going to put them up quite a little bit higher because this is what's going to stick out of the top of our little potted plant, just like that. Okay, so let's put it in so we can see what it looks like. There we go, like that. Now, we need to do a bow, of course, so get some of your linen thread. And I folded 2 pieces together, and I'm using them like one to make this bow. Cut that off. Get another glue dot. If you stick that right there on that glue dot, and then take your snips, pick it up and put it right there. Squish it in a little bit under there. All right, now the last thing we need to do is add the sentiment. Let's put this guy in here, and we're gonna have the sentiment hang over like that. Now, in retrospect, I can see that I should have probably put these leaves up a little bit higher. I don't like that white card sticking out. So let me show you my other one. See how this one goes all the way down, almost all the way down. So when you do yours, make sure that you put these leaves up even higher than what I did because we want it to go up further. But let's go ahead and do the sentiment on a piece of scrap paper, scrap white. I'm going to stamp this in our archival black ink. And then it says, I hope you feel appreciated. And then this little tiny one says, because you are. And these, again, are from the upcoming Thoughtful Branches collection. Bundle, I should call it. It's a bundle of framelits and stamps. And we're going to use one of our many tag thinlits. And I will have all the supplies. This is kind of a project that has lots and lots of products and supplies. So I'll have everything listed on my blog for you. So if you're watching this on YouTube or in your email, make sure you hop over to my blog to get all the specific product links. And you can start ordering this Thoughtful Branches on August 2nd, because this is a must-have, I think. All right, so there you have it. A fancy little project. Requires a few extra steps, more than normal, but I think it's well worth it. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to buy the Thoughtful Branches bundle from me in August, everyone who buys it gets a free project planner that has 4 tutorials in it for free. So if you want to order that from me, make sure to shoot me an email after you've purchased it, and I will send you the free project planner. All right, have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.